Miracles and wonders. Many years ago, the Red Sea split. What a sight! The Jewish people walking on dry land through pillars of standing water. Egyptians in hot pursuit. We commemorate this great event every year on Passover, which occurs during the month of Nisan. There are other holidays that recall great miracles as well. Miracles from times long ago. But what about miracles today? Do miracles happen in our lives? Rabbi DovBer Pinson, a scholar and author of several books on Jewish mysticism, will discuss the month of Nisan as a time of miracles. Both miracles in the days of yore, as well as creating miraculous events in our personal lives.
We have to discuss a little bit what is the month of Nisan. What does the month of Nisan represent? And what is the energy, what is the consciousness of the month of Nisan? So the simple, I'm sure you've heard this many times, Nisan, the root word of Nisan comes from the word Nes, and it's miracles, so it's the month of miracles. But what we have to really understand is that it's true that it's the month of miracles. Historically, that's when we left Mitzrayim. But when we talk about and we say that it's a month of miracles, it's not just miracles of the past, but it has to be miracles in our own lives. So how do we actually tap into create miracles in our own life? There's a possibility of miracles. So when we say that it's a Chodesh Hagula, it's a month of miracles, it can't just be that it's a month of miracles of the past, that something happened thousands of years ago, the Jews left Egypt. No. A lot of nice things happened historically. When we say that it's a month of Geula, Chodesh Hagula, we must say that there's something about this month that if we really enter it in the right way, we can create differences in our life, and perhaps even real miracles. So we'll have to understand what is the root of a mythos, what is the root of a miracle, and if we can access this. So we'll go through some of the points of the month, and then we'll try to understand this a little bit deeper. There's two Rosh Hashanahs. There's Rosh Hashanah of the New Year, which is the solar year. That's when we celebrate the beginning of the new year. That's Rosh Hashanah, that we call Rosh Hashanah. And then there's something that is the Rosh Hashanah l'Chadashim, the Rosh Hashanah of the new months, and that's on Nisan. The difference between the new months and the new year is that month is connected with the lunar, and the year is connected with the solar. So the solar year is called Shana, and Shana means also Shiner, which change, but also means Shana from the word from old, Yashan. And Chodesh, which comes from the word Chadash, which is new, represents the lunar year. And the difference between the lunar and the solar is that the solar is something that's predictable. It's routine. The sun rises every day and the sun sets. The moon, because it waxes and wanes, we see the moon. We don't see the moon represents the miraculous, something that's unexpected. You don't expect to see the moon, then all of a sudden the moon appears. Of course, the moon is always there, but this is our perception of the moon, that we see the moon coming and going. So Geula, redemption, and Chodesh, new, represents the moon, and the sun represents the old. That's why there's a verse in Kohelet that says, Ein kol chadash tachas hashemesh, right? There's nothing new under the sun. I'm sure you heard this. So the Zohar says that tachas hashemesh ein, there's nothing new under the sun, but the levana is new. Because the moon, by definition, means something that's new. So the consciousness of sun represents the routine. Malmata l'mayla, it's your routine. The consciousness of the moon represents something that's unexpected, the place of the dream, the place of imagination. And that's why, what's the first thing that the Jews receive, the first mitzvah that the Jews receive in Mitzrayim? Rosh Chodesh. Why? To sanctify the new moon. Because the Egyptians, as we know today, the Egyptians were sun worshippers. They worshipped Ra. And the idea of a sun worshipper means that there's a certain strict hierarchy. If you're born a slave, you're a slave. You're born a free person, you're a free person. There's a hierarchy, there's a predictability, there's order. And the idea of moon consciousness is that it breaks the hierarchy, saying that if you're a slave, the slave can also become a master. And someone that's a slave can also become free, and a king can become a slave, and a slave can become a king. That is the chiddush, that's the novelty of the giving of the Torah, which Hashem says, no, there is no hierarchy. There is no person that's born special just because of your genetics, but every person could be like Moshe Rabbeinu. So if you're born a slave, you can become the greatest person possible. That's the moon. So to break out of the consciousness of the sun, Hashem says, okay, here, Chodesh is Alechem. But also there's another parallel idea, which is that the sun represents the reality the way you see it, right? The sun is shining, I see this object there. The moon, because it's dark, it's night, represents the place of the dream, where things are dark, but because it's dark and it's uncertain, there's a lot of possibility. You can create anything in your imagination. So the moon will be connected with the place of not the reality as is, but the place of the possibility and imagination. And then also, then we also have the word Nissan, which the word Nissan is the way we call the month. We don't call it Av, we call it Nissan. So we say if, in fact, the word Nissan is a Hebrew word, which is debated in the Medrash. If it's a Hebrew word, then we say it comes from the word Nes. And if it's an Akkadian word, it comes from the word Nasu, which means to move aside or to start over. So the idea of Nissan is a new beginning. What type of new beginning? There's a new beginning of sun, which is just continuation of the new beginning. And then there's a new beginning, which is a radical new beginning, something that's completely unexpected, something miraculous. And that's the story of the redemption, the story of the going out of Egypt. So again, we're trying to understand what is the month of Nisan, and we see clearly that the month of Nisan is something about miraculous, something unexpected. We have two important elements over here, which is the letter Hey and the sense of speech. Okay, so let's think about it. So obviously Hey and speech are connected because the way we use speech is through the Hey Mitzvah Sapeh. We use the 5 potentials of the mouth to create sounds, right? You create any sound, the sound comes up as breath, and then it comes up as wind, and then you use the mouth, which is your teeth or your palate or your tongue, and you're creating different sounds. That's the 5 potentials of the mouth. But there's something deeper about the letter Hey and the idea of speech. So first let's think about the letter Hey and relate it to the things that we've talked about. Hey is essentially the root of all sound. So we know that there are 3 essential sounds. Or I would say there's no 3. There's one essential sound, which is letter A, or A. The beginning of sound is the letter Aleph. The conclusion of sound is the letter Mem, right? If you start opening your mouth, you're saying Ah. When you close your mouth, you're saying That's Then Shin, Aleph, Mem, Shin, according to Sefer Yetzirah, are the 3 primary mother letters because that's the beginning, end, and the middle of all sound. But before a sound rises up into your mouth and becomes sound, it exists as breath. What's the sound of breath? Hey. The sound of breath is ha. That's the sound that comes before the Aleph. So Hey is the potential of sound. The potential, so there's the actual of sound, which is Aleph, and then there's the potential of sound, which is Hey. What's the potential and what's the actual? The actual is the reality as it is. The potential is the reality as it could be, or the miraculous. If I say the reality is that this table is a table, that's the actual. I say potentially I can create this table. If I'm a good architect, I can make this table into a chair. That seems to be miraculous because I really know how to do this, so it seems definitely like a miracle. But if someone says I can make this table into thin air, I can make it float, that seems to be miraculous. If you can change the dynamics of something that's physical, of the Aleph form, go into its potential, you're creating something that's miraculous. So the source of the miraculous is the place of sound, the root of sound. The root of sound is the letter Hey. Where do we see the letter Hey showing up in the miraculous? We actually find this in Avram Avinu and Sarah, right? That Avram is Avram and Sarah is Sarai, but in order to have children, the letter Hey is added to their names. Avram becomes Avraham, Sarah becomes Sarah, and through having that letter Hey, they're able to create and have a child in a miraculous age at their stage where they are in their life. So Hey is connected with the place of potential.